Matt Shortwright, 22, and Jason Sangha, 18, shared a partnership of 263 to highlight just how innocuous England's bowling is. Credit AFPGetty Images A necessary dose of realism before the opening Ashes test in Brisbane. Two young Australian bucks drove home just how innocuous England's bowling is in the absence of James Anderson and Jake Ball, at any rate by scoring centuries to draw England's last warm-up game. This draw was as startling as West Indies' victory at Headingley, and stemmed from the same fundamental weakness: innocuousness when the ball is no longer new, which is exaggerated on Australian pitches. Jason Sangha, Australia's under-19 captain, has only just turned 18. His only previous first-class game was the one against England in Adelaide last week. Matt Short has only just turned 22. This was his fifth first-class game. Yet they shared a fourth-wicket partnership of 263, which was not broken until the final session, by when the game had been saved and England embarrassed. If Australia's supporters and headline writers had been wondering how to hurl abuse at England before Thursday, they have plenty of ammunition now. Against a bunch of rookies, the tourists could take only one wicket all day, and that was when Sangha top-edged a sweep. Not until now had Ben Stokes been missed, but he was here, as nobody else could get the ball to River Seswing, and nobody else could get into the young batsmen's faces and heads, and nobody else could rouse England's fielders with a stunning catch. It was only Sangha's second first-class game. Credit Getty Images A. England's pace bowlers could not do enough with the newer old ball to beat the bat. Stewart Broad, by his own admission, cannot raise his game to the extent in practice games, and was no more than economical. No surge of hostility when the game could still have been won. It would be unwise to write Broad off, though, even at the age of 31, because the Gabba pitch after this weekend's rain is going to help all pace bowlers at the outset. Chris Woakes had been flattered by his bowling figures hitherto on this tour, taking 4 for 17 under the lights in Adelaide and another 6 wickets in the first innings here, without swinging the new ball. He bowled some sharp bouncers, but on a placid forte pitch Sangha, a lithe teenager with whippy wrists, had no trouble ducking them. England's spinners were no less innocuous. Moeen Ali, perhaps because of his side strain, did not get enough snap into his deliveries to make them bounce or to threaten either edge. The only off-spinner to beat the batsmen before they had reached their centuries was Joe Root, who had Sangha outside edging to Johnny Bairstow, but the keeper had come up too soon and the ball hit his pads rather than gloves. Plenty for Joe Root and England to ponder as we enter the week of the first Ashes test. Credit Getty Images A. Mason Crane did have Sangha drop 143 by Mark Stoneman at short extra cover, but in general betrayed his age and red ball inexperience. Every over or two a half-tracker released pressure on the batsman. Very occasionally he beat the outside edge with his leg break, but not the inside with a variation. Short is a promising all-rounder, Sangha something special in the making, and nothing was more special than his driving of England's spinners through the covers. Fortunately, England have one and probably two changes to make for the Gabba test. The first is the return of James Anderson, who was rested for this game. At the age of 35, Anderson has expanded his skills so that he can find movement with any ball on any pitch, but the caveat comes with his age: he cannot be expected to bowl more than 20 of the 90 overs in a day. Craig Overton found his run-up from the Ross River Road end disturbed by a sprinkler when he tried over the wicket, so he switched around the wicket, then to the other end, but never seemed to work out a plan of attack other than the bouncer. Like Woakes, Overton's figures were flattered by the conditions in Adelaide when he had only to run in for wickets to fall. England's Ashes schedule, fixtures, dates and time, so it was highly relevant that Jake Ball bowled in the nets, then fielded, then bowled another spell in the nets, to prove his recovery from his right ankle strain. Ball has a whippier shoulder than Overton, and is that crucial amount quicker, and so far has got more lateral movement than anyone bar Anderson. There must be a risk that Ball's right ankle will buckle again, as it had buckled before last week in Adelaide, but England do not have any other option to Overton. Tom Curran, Stephen Finn's replacement, has not played since the end of last season. George Garton has been the fastest of England's bowlers in the nets, a fast left-armer of great potential, but he has just arrived in Australia and is only 20. Although anyone can have a bad dress rehearsal, it will be a subdued flight for England from Townsville to Brisbane. Although they have been pitted against such youthful opposition, they have had their vulnerability exposed on two fronts before a shot has been fired: their batting collapse in Adelaide, and to a certain extent here, even though they totaled 515, and the impotence of their bowling, especially when the ball is old. The next 7 weeks, for England supporters, might just feel longer.